have a few speeches tonight, so you want to kind of move in, grab a seat, relax. We will get started with the rest of the program. We're a little ahead of our planned schedule, but we're just going to keep things moving. So I want to introduce Denise Lucelo. She's the president of the Clearlake Chamber of Commerce, a local business owner, former council member. So come on up, Denise.
Testing.
Is this one better? All right. Okay. So good evening. I would like to first say this is myself, Denise Lucelo, president of the Clearlake Chamber of Commerce. I'm also a former mayor of the city of Clearlake, and I couldn't be more proud to be here tonight with all of you. I'd like to welcome everyone to our 4th annual State of the City address. This is something that started, and we weren't sure about it, but it has just grown and became a wonderful thing for everyone. So, with thanking everyone, I would like to let everybody know that being involved in the city and moving things forward takes the whole community. Okay. So, on behalf of the city, the chamber, and myself, thank you all for participating and wanting to be here tonight. You're in your right notes. So at first, I would like to talk a little bit about our chamber. The last couple of years have been some of the best years for the chamber. Very successful, and we are now in our forever home, as we've mentioned before. But it's happened because of the partnership that the city has made with the chamber. There hasn't always been a great partnership, but now we are partners, and it really shows because of the things that are coming down the pipe. The partnering that I'm talking about is not only our forever home, but it's the Highlands Park, it's this park, it's this event, it's events held at Christmas, it's parades, it's everything that we work together to provide for the whole community. And I just think it's been getting better and better every year. So I'd like to thank everyone for that. And I'd like to thank the city most of all for partnering and becoming a huge part of the chamber. So with that, there's some people here that I would like to thank. We'll start with our, of course, council members. Mayor Russ Kramer. Vice Mayor Dirk Slutin. Council Member Joyce Overton. Council Member Phil Harris. Council Member Russ Purdock. There are some former city council members here in the audience. Mr. Chuck Leonard, could you please stand? We want to thank you tonight for all your hard work. And he's been mentioned before, and he couldn't be with us tonight, but I do have to say the city manager currently of Sassoon, formerly of our city, Greg Colson. I would also like to thank my board members, Clearlake Chamber of Commerce board members, please stand. Good, Sheila. There she is. Lake County Chamber board members to please stand. Thank you for being here tonight. And great to work with. Thank you for partnering with us. And if anybody doesn't know Melissa, she is the Chamber of Commerce Executive Director for the Lake County Chamber. Now, any Highland Senior Service Center board members here tonight, I would like to acknowledge them also. Thank you. And I saw this gentleman earlier, Lake County Superintendent of Schools, Brock Falkenberg. Please stand. And we cannot forget Adventist Health Clearlake's CEO and President, David Santos. Please stand. So again, with all these people partnering and working together, that's how all these things happen. And that's how we're getting all the wonderful things in our city coming forward. So I just want to thank everyone for being a part of this tonight. And I would like to next introduce Supervisor Bruno Salpia.
I feel like she stole a little bit of my thunder. She has the exact same theme that I want to talk to you about. So I feel really fortunate enough that I feel like I've been part of the city of Clearlake where we've turned that corner, where we have really positive things that are happening for us and we're seeing it visually. This park will be a prime example of the type of things that are changing for us in the community. It started back in the day where we finally, as a council, and when I say we, I talk about the greater we, I was not a part of the council at this point, where we turned from a city in the red to the city in the black, where we knew now we were actually had a balanced budget and we were moving forward in the right direction. In 2009, the city, because of the downturn in the market, lost all of its code enforcement. The day that the council worked, and Denise Lucelo was part of this council, to make code enforcement come back, we started seeing changes here in this city. Everything is slow when it disappears and it has to come back. You got to give it time for it to get the energy it needs to make effect in your community. And right now, today, code enforcement is doing more than we've ever seen them do. That took collaboration from everybody in the city, from the community, from saying this is what we need to see, and now we're seeing it happen. It took collaboration, led by Councilmember Russ Purdock, to get Measure V on the ballot and to get it passed. It wasn't just an idea, it was your votes, our hard work as a council to get the right language on the ballot and to make the work happen today. We're seeing it with the equipment that's been purchased. We're seeing it in the roads in front of you that are getting changed, that are getting rehab. This is what we're looking for. All that takes collaboration. We're seeing it with universal garbage that's cleaning up our streets so that we make sure we don't have houses filling up with garbage, that they're taking it where it's supposed to go, into the landfill. That took collaboration. Everything we do does not happen in a vacuum or in a silo. It happens when all of us come together to get things done. So thank you for being here. This is why we want to create this community, continue to increase the community that we have, because we love where we live and we want to make these things happen. So, as you know now, since January, I've been the district supervisor for District 2 of the county, and it's no different. It's all about collaboration. I want to say at least once a week, I'm on the phone with Alan Flora. At least once a week, I'm on the phone with the mayor, Russ Kramer, or a council member to talk about what are the needs of this district, of this city, so I can help make sure that the county is providing the resources they need. I know that I've heard often from the chief of the work with the sheriff's department and probation, do the probation sweeps that we've been seeing happening in our community to make sure that those who are on probation are following the rules and that criminals in our community do not stay here without having to watch their backs. We are here to make sure you do the right thing. But the other day, behind the new Big Five and Tractor Supply, there was a sweep because, as we all know, there's been a couple fires back there. We're very nervous about how that can affect our community. I want to thank Social Services and Behavioral Health for collaborating with the Sheriff's Department, Code Enforcement, for going back there and making sure to hand out and provide information to connect those people to resources rather than just saying, this is a dangerous place for you to be, move on. We have to help the people who are here. We have to use the resources we have, and only if the county works with the city and the city with the county can we make these things happen. And now a couple of key things that I'm working on, and this is just a small list of the many things that I'm working on. Doing county work, in my opinion, was one of the most challenging things I've ever taken on. There's so much happening at the county level, but I love every minute of it. When you look around in our community, sometimes you'll see houses that aren't in great shape, that might have a lot of garbage out in front, or just are a real nuisance to your community. And it's not all the houses in your community. Sometimes it's just that one that really brings it down for you. Did we lose me? I'm back. I have a loud voice, so it's hard to tell if I'm on the microphone or not. Part of the reason that this is happening is we have not been consistent in doing a tax auction to make sure.
Get back on the other mic a little bit. I think you're getting interference.
That's not a mic, that's a video camera.
Oh, whatever it is.
There's it.
There you go. Is that better?
I'm touching something I should not be touching. So I'm working with the tax collector to make sure that every year we have a tax auction on the properties that have not paid their taxes to ensure that those properties who are a nuisance in your community do not remain a nuisance for your community. We can get a new landlord that cares about their community and wants to make a difference, not just for themselves, but for you as well. One of my main goals, and it's one I learned as a council member here in Clearlake, is absolutely the importance of having a fully staffed police department. When we see a fully staffed police department, we see a huge difference. Just today, I drove down the street coming here and I saw 4 police officers driving through. I would be lucky if I saw 4 deputy sheriffs driving around the county in one time frame. That's unfortunate. That's a large amount of area to take on with such little amount of deputies. So I am dedicated to increasing the number of deputies. We've already worked as a board to give them the incentives to hire and recruit. We're seeing the difference. We haven't lost a single officer yet. We haven't lost a single person in that department. But we hired 13 just in the last few months. Let's keep it going, because a better staffed sheriff office is better help for our police department for the collaboration that we need. I'm sure many of you have passed by the front area of Redbud Park. That to me is also a true collaboration as well. I've collaborated with Councilmember Overton, who works for the Senior Center, who owns the building. She helped rehab the entire siding of the building. Before it had boarded up windows, now it's good exterior. And I worked with the Lake County Rural Arts Initiative to get a mural painted on there to make it as welcoming as possible for all of our fishermen going into the park, all of our residents going into the park to feel welcome when they go to our park and the best public docks in Lake County. I may have moved on to the county, but it's still the same basic philosophy. We need to collaborate. The park with the Venice Health, collaboration. The work for our businesses with the chamber, collaboration. You being here, wanting to support and see what our vision is as a council, as a county, is collaboration. I'm losing everything. Let's keep the collaboration going. Thank you very much, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Russ Kramer.
I hate following Bruno. Not only is he a polished, great speaker, but he covered about half of what I was going to cover. But I'll kind of soldier on. First of all, thank you all for attending our 2009 Rock State of the City Special thanks to our city staff for their dedication and hard work throughout the year and today in getting this set up. Without their hard work, anything that the council does is not gonna help at all. It's got to be put into action, and they've done just a fantastic job over the last year and before in getting things done. Thank you very much. The year's been very eventful, with many improvements that we can be proud of. The first one that I'm going to hit on is road maintenance and improvements. It's been the third year now since Measure B passed. Prior to that, maybe we'd spend a couple $100,000 annually on trying to maintain the roads, and as you can see, they weren't maintained. Since then, since the enactment 3 years ago, we spent $4.7 million purchasing needed equipment, a lot of which is seen around here. Staffing up, you saw an example of that. These fellows back here in yellow are a part of that. And on actual road projects. Additionally, we've spent $6.5 million that we've invested, in capital projects such as the Dam Road extension and the Civic Center project that was just completed not long ago. Council has recently approved a major upgrade to our animal shelter that will provide a safe and comfortable housing for dogs and cats while they're waiting their forever homes. Hopefully some of you helped along with that forever home part of it earlier as we were out demonstrating those. Our staff there does a fantastic job. This new facility, I think there's depiction of it over there, is going to be fantastic. It's going to give them a good, safe place for sheltering them, and also for showing them exercising them and showing them the folks that are interested in making one of them their forever home. Chief Andrews will talk more about the facilities in his history. Council has also enacted ordinance changes and staffing to support aggressive code enforcement. This includes the enhanced vegetation management ordinance that was put in earlier this year. In addition, Supervisor Sabatier spoke about universal garbage. The vegetation management goes right along hand in hand with them. Both increases the fire safety of our city, and it helps to beautify our city. Red tag property owners are being strongly encouraged to clean up, to renovate, or to remove their blighted buildings. The results of this can be observed along Lakeshore Drive, where they're, rather than blighted buildings, now we're seeing lots that are ready to be developed, and that will be the next step in the process. City Hall, if you've been there, you might notice is being spruced up, fresh paint, new flooring in public areas. A solar system has been installed using grant funding, resulting in significant energy cost savings. The police department offices have also undergone extensive renovation. Again, Chief White will talk about more later. The Senior Community Center has also had a solar system installed, along with interior air circulation. That giant fan, if you've been in there, that you see on the ceiling. It doesn't look like it's going very fast, but it sure does use a lot of air. We've also had new painting accomplished by volunteers and is undergoing kitchen renovation, funded partly through donations and grants. Before I go any further, we have some announcements of folks dignitaries that are attending tonight. There's one more that has just arrived. Supervisor Moat Simon is back here on the left. Supervisor Simon, you always might think of Clearlake and Middletown. He's actually got a significant part of the southern part of Clearlake in his district as well. So you can go talk to him about those projects as well. Also, the community center, you've seen the installation of an emergency generator and bathroom shower trailer that qualifies the center as an emergency evacuation shelter. This project was funded again through grants and donations. It's a grassroots effort that started after the Valley Fire, and there was no evacuation shelter, or no one that was organized and certified by Red Cross. It started actually with the Lower Lake Community Action Group, who bought the transfer switch and started that ball rolling. PG&E donated a significant amount of money for the generator. A group in Sonoma County, actually, Tipping Point Community, donated a significant amount to help us buy the shower trailer. Redbud Healthcare District was the last donation of $41,000, which will give us the funding to complete the project. No city funds have gone into this project, and it's going to be around a little more than $200,000 when complete. So that's collaboration and community involvement. Thank you all that were involved in that. Speaking of partnerships, collaboration, as Supervisor Sabachi and Denise both hit upon earlier, Pat Dennis Health was the 800-pound gorilla in this room with a $100,000 check that David just gave me before. That's going to pay for that, for those playground facilities equipment. That's an amazing amount of money to be donated by one entity. And I heard David say that this is just the beginning. And he hopes at some point this will be the smallest check that we do. I'm all for them. Lake County Fire Protection District, another partner of the city. Many of you probably think, or some of you anyway, probably think that the fire department is part of the city. It's not. It's a special district that operates completely separately from the city. They're a special district of Lake County. That doesn't stop them, though, from answering the call when the city needs their help, despite the fact that they answer 5,500 plus calls annually, ranging from medical to fires. They pitch in at no cost. Next time you see a fireman or the County Fire Protection District especially, give them a thank you. Redbud Health Care District. Originally, it was formed in 1964 to bring the Redbud Hospital to our community, which was completed in 1968. As you know, the hospital sold in 1997. Since that time, Redbud Health Care District has continued to provide grants to our community, actually to all of southern Lake County. A significant, a substantial part of which directly benefits the citizens of Clearlake. They average $800,000 annually in grants to all these entities. Among these entities, they support our senior center. They just gave them a check for $40,000 with the promise of another 40. Is that right, Conrad? Later on, and where is Conrad still here? Conrad, stand up, please. Conrad's the manager of the healthcare district. Fantastic guy. He lost his house in sulfur fire. And he soldiered on. Despite that, he's finally getting it rebuilt. They contributed, in addition to the senior center, to the emergency evacuation shelter, and also to the senior center. They regularly provide grants to the Lake County Fire Protection District to buy things such as ambulances and equipment for them that deals with public safety. They donated to the youth center in Clearlake, day services, and to Help Me Start, to name a few. We also have a partnership with Nakka Unified School District. Haverty Field back behind you is owned by the city, but used by Burns Valley School on an MOU between the city and Red Bank. Our police department provides resource officer for the schools that provide safety while in the classroom for the schools here in Clearlake. The sheriff's department does the same in Clearlake schools. Going forward, council looking for continued growth as a priority for luring new business to Clearlake. The airport's a priority for commercial business growth. My vision is for a regional type shopping mall to occupy both redevelopment agency property and adjacent property privately owned to the south. There are several things going now. There is a letter of intent that hopefully will be acted on in the near future. And also another project on some of the privately owned property that's separate from the south. Lakeshore Drive, as I said earlier, is significant cleanup of the dilapidated building in anticipation of luring service-type businesses, including restaurants and lodging with an emphasis on tourism to take advantage of the greatest this lake behind us, and the view that you have. Austin Park, we're at now. Key component in this part of the vision, as City Manager Flora said earlier. It will be the focal point of luring people to come here. Imagine this next year with the grandstand behind us, with this grass out here green, not weeds, but green grass. The dog park over here, the kids playing playground over here. It's going to be great, and we look forward to it. With new businesses, of course, will come more employment opportunities, something that we desperately need in Canada. Last key to the vision, new and better housing. There are a number of sites within the interior of the city that are well suited for planned housing projects. Developers are beginning to look at these sites. Supervisor Sabatian and I have talked to several of them, as have Alan, Mr. Flora. Also, funding help from agencies such as USDA and the help of the Lake County Economic Opportunities are all the conclusion. I believe these are exciting times for our city. While there are challenges still, we are getting better, and we'll continue to as we regain the spirit that I remember when I was growing up here in the 1960s. Thank you very much, and our next speaker will be Chief White.
Good evening, everybody. On behalf of the men and women of the police department, I'm honored to be here tonight to speak with you about what we've been up to. The short story is that we've been busy, and we're incredibly grateful for the community support, gratitude, and encouragement that we've received along the way. Our focus since last year, when we had the last State of the City, has been first and foremost on recruitment and retention, facility and vehicles, new technology, service delivery, and community engagement. Primarily within that area, both physical engagement with going out, holding coffee with the cop, attending other community events, but also too with establishing a massive presence in social media that reaches beyond this county throughout the United States with the stories of compassion and caring that's put forth by our officers every day out there on patrol. Recruitment and retention, we've hired over a dozen new employees to serve you and to make this a safer and cleaner community. We promoted multiple employees from within the organization and expanded our talent pool to achieve our objectives. We focused on retaining, training, and developing our existing employees. In many cases, we've unlocked talent that's existed within our department, but just needed some encouragement and some resources in order to be unleashed. Our training includes hosting most recently de-escalation training which is designed to improve the outcome of law enforcement encounters and reduce use of force, and improve the safety of our officers and the safety of our community. We've redeployed a dedicated traffic officer. We have 2 new code enforcement officers out addressing code enforcement issues, and we were authorized by our city council an additional dispatch position, which we are currently working on filling, as well as a new office assistant that can be dedicated to handling the increasing foot traffic in our lobby. In our facilities, it was mentioned that we've done a remodel there. We also have a state-of-the-art gym, I think probably the best gym within the county for law enforcement and probably throughout the greater region, thanks in part due to the generous donation or grant from the Red Bud Healthcare District, but also too by our employees who spent countless hours preparing the room and taking care of other items that would have been prohibitively expensive for us to do. We deployed new patrol vehicles and replaced, quite frankly, a dilapidated fleet that was breaking down and caused officers en route to calls to have to actually wait on the side of the road until somebody could come pick them up. We just recently completed the first phase of our radio infrastructure upgrades. For those that aren't aware, our officers have struggled with being able to communicate on their two-way radio, their lifeline, for a long time. And so we took a major step towards that, and we're working on phase 2 of that currently. As was mentioned, they approved a site plan, and we're in the final stage of engineering. I think our engineer is walking around somewhere here, so hopefully he's got the plans finished up here soon. But for the animal shelter, we expect that to be open hopefully in the summer of next year. With technology, we've been doing a lot in that area. We have new software systems throughout the department to improve efficiency as well as accessibility by the public. We have a brand new state-funded 911 PSAP center, which provides state-of-the-art technology to improve emergency response and meet baseline standards for 911 response. In that area, it's important to note that the funding for that, everybody that lives within the city that has phone lines was already paying for that. You just weren't receiving the service. So we lobbied the state, and your money is now coming here so that we can deliver better service for you. Most recently, our council authorized us to deploy new taser devices, which again is focusing at reducing deadly force encounters. We now have a state-of-the-art training program. I believe we're one of the first within the state to deploy the new technology, and we are getting ready to roll out the virtual reality component of that for training officers again on de-escalation to keep them safe and the community safe. Crime reduction is one of the goals that was set forth by the council when they came up with the strategic plan several years back. And the idea was, or one of the focus areas, to make Clearlake a statistically safer city. I will tell you that since coming here, one of our biggest challenges that we're up against is obviously the reality of crime that exists here, what things actually occur, but the worst problem is actually the perception and the misperception of what the real crime situation is. So in 2018 compared to 2017, as we previously reported, we had a 16% reduction in violent crime and a 14% reduction in property crime. It's important to note that that was after a reduction the prior year, and I'm pleased to report that as of today, through the end of September, we're on another 13% overall reduction from the already reduction last year in Part 1 crime. We've also significantly increased our proactive enforcement and presence in the community, which is due in part to having additional staffing, with a 46% increase in traffic stop and arrests. We regularly do special enforcement operations throughout the city, which are based upon crime trends and community input. And we're happy to be able to be responsive to the issues that have plagued our community and to try to make a difference. Finally, in the area of code enforcement, we've worked with the City Council to enact new ordinances targeting various issues that we faced. It was mentioned before about red tag buildings. We've also enacted new ordinances regarding abandoned vehicles, vacant properties, and considering new ordinances, including rental inspection ordinance. We made a focused effort on abatements throughout the city and destroyed numerous dilapidated public nuisance structures that existed throughout the city, utilizing both Cal Recycle funds, but also two general funds. So this city is making investment in becoming cleaner. We implemented a new administrative citation program to increase compliance and to also recover some of the significant costs that are involved with trying to clean up these issues. We also, as was previously mentioned, focused on an increased effort in vegetation enforcement this year and had somewhere around a 68% compliance rate, which is incredible for the amount of work. I was just briefed prior to coming here and was told that as of today, we've significantly exceeded the entire amount of activity that we did in the whole year of 2018. So everything beyond here is above and extra. So for the future, our focus is continue to be on our personnel. If we don't have the right people and if we don't have our positions filled, we can't do anything else. So we are focused on retaining our personnel and recruiting the best and the brightest. We're focused on engagement, engaging you as the community, attending events. We're focused on being accountable to the community and increasing our own internal accountability and reaching for excellence. We are also cognizant and aware about the image problem that exists within the city, and we're doing our part to increase that. And I tell you that while I was sitting here watching the other speakers talk, if you look over there, I think they're starting to go home. But that's our future over there. It's those kids that are trying to play in a park and then we'll have an opportunity here to play. You want to look at how to reduce crime within a city, give opportunities for kids to be kids in a safe environment and a welcoming environment, not having to climb around syringes and the other issues that have been here for too long. So again, I want to extend my appreciation to everybody within the community, all the stakeholders, but most importantly, I get to be the one up here speaking about all the good things that we're doing, but the reality is, it's these people back here and the people that are working and the people that are sleeping because they need to be back in the morning that work at that police department that are making Clearlake a cleaner and a safer community. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. So I wanted to follow up on that by just quickly saying a couple things about the rest of the city department heads. So Chief White, if you can quickly stand up. Chief White's had an amazing first year with the city. I believe the department's making all the right steps for the future, and I want to thank you for your leadership. Melissa Swanson, if you could stand up, our Administrative Services Director and City Clerk. Oh, Melissa, she's back there waving. Melissa handles a very wide array of responsibilities, including when wind blows things over and whatnot. But perhaps the most impressive thing about Melissa is I don't know if there's anyone that's more dedicated to this city than Melissa Swanson. Thank you for always working so hard. Jill Martin, our Finance Director. Jill, I've known and worked with Jill for a number of years outside of the city. Thank you for stepping away from your retirement to help out the city. I'm so grateful for just the impact that you have every day on improving our operations and what you do with our staff. So thank you. And then, finally, we still don't have a public works director, which we're working on, but our city engineer, who's a consultant, but really acts like he's one of us. Dave Schwartz, you can stand up. Dave has done an amazing job of filling in the gaps that we've had with not having a public works director, and I'm really thankful that he's been here helping us. Even though he's from Yuba City, he drove here tonight on his own time because he wanted to show support to us. And working with him, he's just a farm boy like me, and I feel like that a couple of farm boys can solve almost any problem. And so thank you for being a part of it. So finally, I just want to, it took a lot of work, this was mentioned earlier, to put this event together and, the things they do every day. But Tina Veramontes, Melissa Swanson, Chief White, Linda Peralta, Mike Baker and Bo Weimer, and the whole Public Works crew. Those are the folks that have, they'd rather be out there filling potholes and grading our streets, but we call on them to do a lot of stuff, and thank you for always doing an amazing job. Thank you so much. Finally, I want to thank all of you, the community, for coming out tonight and being part of this event. It's wonderful to see you. So, a couple things that I wanted to talk about. I talked, kind of group things into the three things that we're focusing on: infrastructure, image, and leadership. We know that Clearlake has struggled over the years in many ways, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but some of them are rapidly rotating leadership. It's the poorest city in a poor county. Blight has been allowed to remain, projects stall, weeds grow. There's been a culture, I believe, of ignoring the city and waiting on us to revert to inaction again. And so now the city's investment in infrastructure, community policing, increased code enforcement action, among many other initiatives, are really starting to move that needle. And this is also beginning to shift the perspective that many have in the community that we're serious about Clearlake being cleaner and safer. I want to stress that. I hope all of you notice some of those actions and appreciate the progress. We also have to be honest, the city hasn't always led by example. It's hard to get community buy-in to clearing up someone's property when the city lets its parks remain unmowed or unmanicured, roads fall apart, and our city hall and other public facilities deteriorate. But today, the city is dedicated to changing this and accepting responsibility for leading the charge in community transformation and revitalization. So we will be a leader for change. But we're only 65 employees supporting this city of 16,000. And revitalization requires community buy-in and action from all of you. It's often said that 10% of the people in the community drive a change. And I hope that tonight there's a few more than the 10%. Many of you, I'm not saying that you folks aren't involved, but I'm just calling on you tonight to join this and maybe do something more. So first thing we need to do is we have to acknowledge and be real about the challenges that this city faces, because they're significant, and sometimes it feels overwhelming when you drive around and look at some of the issues we have. But I ask you not to accept that negativity that's often associated with the city when you talk to people. The funding that we have available and dedicated for road work will more than double the quality of the paved streets that we have in this city in 10 years. And I can tell you that no other jurisdiction in this county has dedicated enough resources to come anywhere close to achieving that goal. So thank you to the council and to the folks in this community who have voted to support Measure B and other measures. So we have more code enforcement staff here in the city of Clearlake than the entire rest of the county agencies combined. Our tools for enforcement are leading the way across this county. Our police officers are now the highest paid law enforcement officers in Lake County. Our property crime rates are now the lowest countywide, and as the chief mentioned earlier, we're experiencing double-digit reductions in serious crimes year after year. And I can tell you that there's certainly more work to do, but there's definitely the word on the street that it makes sense to take your criminal activity elsewhere, because it's a new day in Clearlake, and these guys are going to chase you down. All right. So I would like to challenge each of you to find a way to support this revitalization. You may wonder, what can I do to help? Every one of us is in a different place in life, has different access to resources, but there's no shortage of things that can be done. And so I want to give you some examples of community leadership that I believe are great examples in our community, and there are many. And so, there's a number of you folks out there who are doing great things that I won't mention tonight, but these are just some examples that I think speak to what's going on. So, first of all, Chief White, please stand up. As our police chief, he has many responsibilities and expectations from myself and the council. And I think we would all agree that he is doing an absolutely fabulous job. But what you don't see, that I see a lot of times, is his commitment to improving the department and the city. And he goes above and beyond every day to make a real difference. He frequently works on computers at City Hall. He set up a new city phone system. He's provided creative ideas to upgrade our radio system, saving the city hundreds of thousands of dollars, and many other improvements that I can tell you aren't in his job description. How easy would it be for him to say, you know, we need to hire someone else to take care of this. I don't have time, or it just isn't possible. And I've never heard that from him. So I want to give you a specific example. I want everyone to take out their phone. Go to your Wi-Fi setting. If you search for Wi-Fi networks, there is a Clearlake public Wi-Fi that you have access to in this park now. And that's because of Chief White and Sergeant Snyder back there setting this system up. It doesn't cost us anything other than a couple of $1,000s to do the equipment, no ongoing cost. And this is something that was done because he thought it needed to be done for the community. Adventist Health and President Sanders. I don't know if David is still here. Okay, so you get to stand up on behalf of me.
You don't look like him at all. I don't look like him at all.
So Adventist Health Clearlake is the largest employer in the city and is growing their footprint countywide. They have a tough job to do every day, providing health care for a disadvantaged community in a county that has some of the worst health outcomes in the state. Is this challenge too great for them? No. Adventist has been very creative and bold in identifying solutions that not only provide better patient care, but improve the community one person at a time. And, you know, I think it would be easy for them to focus on improving their internal operations, which they're doing. But they expect more and they do more than just that. This park is an example, it's been mentioned a few times. In order to fulfill a commitment to better this community and its health, they proactively approached the city and said, we want to raise funds to support exercise opportunities for children in this community. And that's why we're going to have a great play area as part of the Austin Park project that I think is going to be the best one in this county. So this is a great example of a local organization not only having bold vision for improving the community that they do business in, but being committed to it and following through. So thank you. Dirk Sluten. Dirk, if you could stand up, please. All of you know that Dirk is a member of the City Council and currently serves as our Vice Mayor. And he serves the community in that role like the rest of our council members by making policy decisions that are making Clearlake cleaner and safer. But Dirk and his wife Karen are also local investors. And they've purchased multiple commercial properties, remodeled them, and are leasing them to local business. And he's found the demand for quality space in the city to be strong. Businesses just want a nice place to do business and serve our community. So thank you to Dirk and Karen and other local investors that are improving the community one property at a time. And I would say, if you own a vacant property, particularly on Lakeshore Drive, fix it up. Lease it out. If you don't want to do that, sell it to someone who will, because we need to clean these corridors up. You know, Clearlake has a trade, within our trade area, $620 million are spent every year outside of our community. There's plenty of demand for retail and other business development. So let's clean up our downtown, our corridors, and bring in new business. Thank you. Citizens caring for Clearlake. I know Barbara isn't here right now, but if any of you, I know some of the folks, Vicki was here earlier. Is anyone here? Could you stand up, please? They already took off. They probably went back to the pizza fundraiser. But for the past 5 years, they have been volunteering to clean up our streets, creeks, parks all across the city. They work tirelessly picking up trash and debris, even cleaning up abandoned property. They have very few resources, you know, but it doesn't take much to do what they do. I went to their regular meeting a couple of weeks ago and I asked them what they needed. They said a scoop shop. That's it. You know, it doesn't take a lot of resources to make a difference. The hardest part is establishing the desire and the commitment to do so. And I tell you, I went out after that and I found the best scoop shovel in the city, and it only costs $60, and it's going to help them clean this place up. And tonight at this very moment, they're holding a fundraiser over at DJ's Pizza so that they can continue their efforts. So, you know, Barbara told me earlier today, they do all this because they think it's fun. They love seeing the progress that's made and the satisfaction of a cleaner city. So, what are you willing to do to make Clearlake cleaner and safer? I want to thank Barbara, Vicki, and all of CC4C, and let's hope they continue having fun for a very long time. So the final example I wanted to mention is the Lake County Chamber of Commerce. So those of you who are board members, I know there's some of you back there, if you please stand up and listen to me. A couple of months ago, Melissa asked me to provide a State of the City update to the Lake County Chamber of Commerce at one of their dinner meetings. And I probably surprised Melissa a little bit, but instead of really talking a lot about the state of the city, I talked about the negative perceptions that many, even the leaders in this community, have about the city of Clearlake. I provided information that I believe debunks many of those perceptions today. And I challenged the chamber and those business leaders to get involved and help us transform the city. And I want to give you credit tonight because you heard that call and you responded. And it remains to be seen what project, what collaboration we're going to work together on, but they created a specific committee of their board members to work with us and figure out what that is and how they can support Clear Lake's transformation. So, thank you. So in summary, the city can't solve every problem in our community. We're working extremely hard every day to improve our infrastructure, our image, and provide community leadership. And I'm calling on each one of you to join us and make a difference any way you can. Are you committed to a new Clear Lake? Today is the day we make the change. Thank you.